That was the worst day in my life.
Yeah, wait till you hear what Anthony Mackie faced on his first day as Captain America. Okay, spoiler alert, it wasn't really the worst day of his life, but as Mackie explained to our Brian Truitt after he was revealed as the new Captain America in the series finale of Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the gig has its pros and cons.
When you're filming that first scene in the finale with you in the new suit and shield, and you say for the first time, "I'm Captain America."
I'm sorry, wait, who are you?
Captain America.
Is that a good day in Anthony Mackie's life?
You know what? That was the worst day in my life because GSP, world-renowned MMA fighter, pound for pound, probably one of the best strikers in the history of MMA. We were doing our fight sequence, and he actually punched me in the face.
Wow.
And I have to say, I took a full punch from George St. Pierre, and I did not go down.
Wow.
Everybody saw it. They have it on tape. I took a full punch, and then I took a full kick to the chest from George St. Pierre, and I went down, but it didn't knock me out.
So you knew what Sam was going against super soldiers. You're like, I have to go against a super actor.
Yes, that was by far the hardest day of my career. Having that dude punch me, it was a long day. Put it that way. So by the time I got to the "I'm Captain America" moment, I was like, dude, this is the worst job. I want to go back to being the Falcon. Just leave me alone.
In the comics, Sam Wilson debuted as Captain America early on in your Marvel run. At that point, did the thought cross your mind, man, I might be wearing that getup one day?
No, not at all. I never, literally not once did I think they would bring that into the film universe fold, because the Marvel doesn't follow the comic books point for point, storyline for storyline. So I never considered the idea of, in any way, shape, or form, becoming Captain America because, Chris, Sebastian, and we've always had fun together.
Mm-hmm.
So the three of us being together is way cooler and way more fun than me sitting in the bushes trying to get Chris Evans' job. It's just, it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm. This season was very much the road from Sam thinking the shield was someone else's to owning it for himself. For you, is there a scene, he interacted with so many people, had so many things happen to him. Is there a scene that cemented at home for Sam where he knew he wanted to be Captain America, do you think?
I think it was the training scene with Bucky when they were throwing the shield and they were talking. The idea, America struggles with acknowledgement, and specifically acknowledgement for Black Americans and their contributions to what this country has become. And it meant a lot to Sam, just simply for Bucky to say, I never considered what it would mean for a Black man to become Captain America. And I think that was the huge turning point for Sam, where, finally, you get it. And it was a cathartic experience, and his ability to release that pain and frustration in that moment, I feel, turned that character, completely on his head and moved him in the direction of accepting the idea of being Captain America.
Steve Rogers was for a long time the moral center of the MCU, and I feel that Sam takes on that mantle too in that impromptu speech he gives and says, the only power that I have is that I believe we can do better. Do you think that's Sam's, Steve moment, or are his words indicative of an important direction for this whole universe going forward?
I think it's very important. It was a very important line and moment for him as Captain America will be very different going forward. With Sam, what's so interesting, you have to realize he's the only person who's not a superhero. He has no serum. He has no powers. He's just a dude who went for a jog and became an Avenger. So instead of using brute and bronze, he has, and him being a former counselor, military counselor to vets, his emotional path, his mental path is completely different. because even when he's fighting Carly, his whole thing is to talk Carly down, not to go in and beat the shit out of Carly. That counselor aspect of him is still there. So it's very important to realize that he still has them hands. If push comes to shove, he can give you a 1-2. But the reality of it is, how do we move forward in a more sophisticated way instead of dropping a city on people way?
Have you heard from Chris since Friday? Has he sent you a text or anything?
No, I talked to him last week, but I haven't talked to him since Friday.
So does he knows though? He knew about you kind of taking on Captain America?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's been a huge supporter and a very positive entity since all of it started. With Endgame, he's always been there as a friend, excited for the fact and possibility that I'm moving forward. I might have been Captain America, and now that I am, same thing.
So was it after Endgame where they kind of set you down and be like, okay, so you're going to be Captain America, but after this 6 hours of show?
It was after Endgame. I went out to LA and we had a long sit down powwow, and they gave me the idea of what was going to happen and how I was going to move forward in the universe. But no one knew the exact ins and outs. I remember getting a call from Kevin Feige, 4 months after that meeting. And he's like, we hired Malcolm Spellman to be a writer. I'm like, wow, Malcolm Spellman, that's great. That's when 2 months later, he's like, we got a writing room and we're going to introduce Isaiah Bradley into the fold. And I'm like, holy shit, Isaiah Bradley, that's amazing. So it was little tidbits like that up until we started shooting.
I saw a video online yesterday where you were talking about, and I think it was something from the past, where you were talking about sharing an emotional moment with your son after Endgame when he asked about if you were Captain America. What did you think about the final episode of the show, last Friday? And are you even cooler now since it's official and everything?
I don't think it's me being cooler. It's weird because with my boys, I'm very frank and blunt and forward with them about, what it means to sacrifice. Like a lot of people don't realize as actors how much we put aside and how much we give up in order to be successful in our field. And it's funny because my two little ones, the 5 of us were watching it together, and the 2 little ones looked at the TV, they looked back at me, they looked at the TV, and they go, "Dad, that guy looks just like you." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And the other one goes, "He sounds like you too." I know. So they look at the TV and they look at me and they're like, "Dad, you could be Captain America." I was like, "I know." And the other 2 started laughing. And they're like, "Can we have some more popcorn?" I'm like, "So y'all don't give a shit about anything but popcorn."
So how old are they? How old are the little ones and how old are the older ones?
The little ones are 5 and 4, and the big ones are 11 and 8. So
Okay.
the 11 and 8-year-old get it.
Got it.
That to them is really cool. They've seen all the work that I've put in and all the things that I've had to do to sacrifice to get to where I am. But the little ones are just like, they don't get how you can be on TV and on the couch at the same time. Like that makes no sense to them.
That's funny. So there's rumblings of a Captain America 4 movie. You've probably heard them, that Malcolm Spellman's writing. Is that official or is that still hypothetical at this point?
Dude, I learned this just like everybody else. Like I love working with Marvel because you literally find out stuff from people at the grocery store. Like I had no idea. They didn't call me or tell me. Literally the dude at the grocery store takes off his mask and he goes, "Are you really starting part 4? I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, takes out his phone. He's like, look, that's you. Like, nobody told me, So, it's always a surprise. I found out in the grocery store buying red beans and rice.
If such a movie were happening, and if you were to star in such a movie, What would it mean to you to headline a Marvel movie?
That would be everything. You know, it's funny because I've been doing this for so long. You know, getting into the business, I had two wishes for my agent at the time. I was like, I want to do a Western, preferably with Clint Eastwood, and I want to be a superhero. That was all I wanted. And after that, I'm done. I'll go like, you know, make po' boys at a local po' boy stand downtown, right? And, you know, the idea of being the title character in a Marvel movie, there's no words to describe that. There's no way of, you know, especially as a Black actor, like, you know, Black actors don't get those opportunities. We just don't, you know, and to have that opportunity, it would really, you know, for all the work that I had to do, the 11 years of training, you know, for all the stuff that I had to do to get here, it would be a monumental feat.
So you just need to talk to Clint now, and then you can retire.
Dude, I'm working on it. I really want to go back and reshoot all the scenes in Unforgiven with Morgan Freeman and just put me in all those scenes.
Well, your next project is Amazon Solo's anthology series. What's your role like in that?
You know, it's crazy. Solos is one of those, I play a young man who plays opposite himself. So it's two of me talking to each other. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just 35 pages of me. I'd never, when I read the script, I was blown away by how beautifully and eloquent it was written, how emotional it was. And, you know, we get to a place in this business where, you know, I'm 20 years in. So, you know, you can phone it in. You can do the same thing, same way in every movie, pick up a check and go home. You know, but with COVID, I wanted to test myself. I wanted to see if I still had it. You know, my dad always tells this story about, you know, once a year he tests himself to see if he still got it, you know. And I used Solos as a test to see if I still had it in me to do that work that I used to do. And I'm proud of it. It's an amazing piece. It's an amazing series. David Weir did a kick-ass job with every single episode. And, you know, it's Helen Mirren and Anne Hathaway and once again, Morgan Freeman. I can't get away from this dude, you know, so so I'm excited for people to see it.
You know, I really enjoyed your scenes with Carl, you know, the Isaiah and Sam scenes. Because, I mean, I feel like those were important for Sam, you know, talk with Isaiah before he officially put on that suit. And afterward, to kind of, you know, as like almost a postmortem, he didn't really care who, you know, what his reviews were for Captain America until he saw him. You know, he wanted to know what he thought, I feel. Right.
No, definitely. And that was all Malcolm Spellman. You know, the idea of Captain America, and because it was a limited series in the comic book that they wrote called the Truitt series, and it was with the testing of the super soldier serum on the Tuskegee Airmen. And, you know, at the time, the U.S. was going through a whole lot like we are now. So the series didn't do well. So I hope they reprint it so people can go back and read it, because it was amazingly put together. But when Malcolm, you know, fought to put Carl Lumbly and that character into the series. And it's funny because I had just worked with Carl on Altered Carbon. And Kevin called me and he's like, yo, so, you know, Isaiah Bradley's going to be in a series. I'm like, that's dope. And he's like, I really want Carl Lumbly. And I'm like, I love Carl Lumbly. So I have a rule now. I'm like, I have to work with Carl once a year because he is like my magic potion. He is my good luck charm.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out these other videos from USA Today Entertainment to stay up to date on all of the latest celebrity news.